Another housekeeping matter last week, I believe it may have even been on Thursday, we had a discussion with Mr. Brooks outside the presence of the jury in which several broad topics were discussed. One of them was Mr. Brooks had indicated he did not have a pretrial offer from the state. We would ask the record to reflect that afternoon we did provide him again with a written copy of our pretrial offer, and that was placed with his materials on the table. I just wanted that in the record, please.
I object to that. I don't. If it was with my paperwork, I haven't seen it.
It was specifically one of the papers, sir, that you left in the bullpen area that on the next morning, on Friday morning, I made a record of providing back to you. So it was provided to you twice.
Well, I haven't seen it.
You want to put the offer on the record, Attorney Opera?
Give me 1 second, Your Honor.
So what's the significance of it being on the record?
So that you are fully aware of it, sir. It was provided to you, but you're indicating you haven't read it, so I want them to make a record of it. The significance would be, I suppose, if at any point you wanted to change your plea, you could do that based upon the pretrial offer.
Well, in any event, I accept for value in return for value that document whenever I see it.
Attorney Opera, go ahead.
Sorry, it's just taking me a second to retrieve it here, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this would be a perfect time to address the subject matter jurisdiction that has yet to be proven on the record and must be
Mr.
proven
Brooks,
by the prosecution.
we are not going to address that. I issued a written decision last week. If you disagree with that, then you can take that up to a higher court. But I issued a written decision. I'm not addressing that any further.
It has yet to be proven on record.
Mr. Brooks, my written decision is the decision of this court.
Has it
Attorney
been proven?
Opera, go ahead.
Has it been proven on record that you have subject matter jurisdiction? Because it has yet to be proven.
Mr. Brooks, your position is simply not correct as a matter of law. I explained that,
Then prove it
and I
lawfully
issued
by
the
law.
decision. You might be confusing subject matter jurisdiction with venue, which is why I commented on that last week.
Absolutely
and
not.
There has been evidence received regarding venue. So I'm going to turn back to Attorney Opera.
has
She's
nothing
going
to
to
do
make a
with venue,
record of
Your
the
Honor.
pretrial offer. I'd ask that you not interrupt. Thank you.
Your Honor, the offer that was dated July 5 of 2022 reads as follows. Plead to counts 1 through 67 in the information. The penalty enhancers on all counts will be struck. Counts 68 to 83 will be dismissed and read in. The state will recommend 6 consecutive life sentences on counts 1 through 6. The state will recommend unspecified prison on all other counts. The defense is free to argue. This pretrial offer was conveyed to his prior counsel on or about the July 5th date, and there in fact had been a earlier offer as well that had been relayed prior to the preliminary hearing or the filing of the information back in January of 2022 that had also been conveyed to his defense counsel at the time.
All right, thank you.
So why haven't I been informed of that?
All right, Mr. Brooks, that is not a topic we are going to take up any further. I just wanted the record to reflect that that offer was conveyed to you.
It wasn't conveyed to me, Your Honor. This is the first time I'm hearing of it. So if it was conveyed to my former
It's
counsel,
not something I'm going to. It's not something I'm going to further address, sir, unless you indicate to me that you would like to take advantage of the pretrial offer by changing your pleas to either guilty or no contest to counts 1 through 67 and submit the appropriate paperwork. I'm guessing that's not what you want to do. So unless that paperwork were to be filed, then I'm going to continue with this trial as if you are exercising your right to a trial in this matter.
and in all respect, Your Honor, I don't think it's fair that you should assume what I want to do or not, or what I don't want to do.
I just need to make a record that that paperwork was provided, sir. We'll continue with the testimony today. I'm not going to take up subject matter jurisdiction. I've issued a written decision. Is there any other preliminary topic from either party?
Is that decision verified proof that subject matter jurisdiction exists because it has yet to be proven on the record.
All right, your objection is noted. Please bring the jury up.
Your Honor, is that the answer?
Mr. Brooks, I issued a written decision. That's your answer.
And what's that? And what does the written decision entail?
So that was provided to you last week. I'm not going to
I
go through
set
it
for
again.
value in return for value the document that I have not seen. What does it entail, Your Honor?
Sir, you were provided with a written copy. I'm not going to read it into the record at this point. It is part of the record. It's a final order
If
for
it's
purposes
part of the record,
appeal.
why can't it be read into the record right now?
It doesn't need to be read into the record, sir.
Is it
It's part
verified
of
proof
the
of?
record.
Is it verified proof of subject matter?
Mr. Brooks, I'm not answering that because it's not something that needs to be verified.
It has to be verified by the prosecution.
I heard the thing come back.
Or is that a tacit agreement that you don't have to answer that question or verify proof of subject matter
Sir,
jurisdiction?
I have no such agreement with you, tacit or otherwise. So that's not how this operates. Again, just
So
because
would
you
it be
believe the
proven?
law requires, that doesn't make it true. All right, the
Show
jury's
me
coming out.
lawfully
All
law.
rise for the jury, please.
Show me by lawfully law that you have subject matter jurisdiction because it hasn't been proven on the record. It has yet to be proven for the record. Let the record reflect that.
The record will not reflect that, and the jury will disregard the comments currently being made.
The record
just
should
made by
reflect that.
Mr. Brooks.
You have to put it on the record. Otherwise, that'd be tampering with the record. So at 8:40,
All right. Good morning, everyone. Please be seated.
tacit agreement at 8:40.
All right. Please disregard the most recent comment by
Tacit
Mr.
agreement
Brooks.
at
It's not
8:40.
evidence in this proceeding. All right. The statement call its next witness.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Sean Backler.
Subject matter jurisdiction
Jury will disregard that last statement by Mr. Brooks.
has to be on the record.
Good morning, sir. Please make your way to the witness stand, which is all the way up by me, to my right. When you get there, please remain standing, raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in. There is one riser, so just be mindful of that.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you, sir. Please be seated. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Sean Backler, S-E-A-N, last name B-A-C-K-L-E-R.
All right, go ahead. Your witness.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Backler.
Hi.
Sir, on November 21 of 2021, where did you live?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
409 Central Avenue, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Okay, if you could just keep your voice up a little bit, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's maybe better if you scoot a little closer to the microphone. Okay, 409 Central Avenue, and that's in the city of Waukesha?
Correct.
Okay. Around the time of 4:49 p.m. on that afternoon of November 21, where were you?
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
I was outside working around the yard, had my garage open.
Okay. Were you aware that the annual Christmas parade was going on that afternoon?
I was aware of it, yes.
Did you attend the parade, sir?
No, I did
Objection,
not.
relevancy.
Okay.
Overruled.
Around 4:49 p.m., what happened, sir?
Objection, leading the witness.
Overruled.
I heard some noise around on the east side of my garage, and I went to see what was going on, and I found the defendant on the side of my garage. I asked him, what in the effing hell is he doing?
Okay, so let's slow down a little bit. You heard a noise and you went to explore it, correct?
Correct.
And you saw a person there,
Yes, I did.
and you questioned that person for being there. Is that right?
Objection, leading the witness.
Foundational, Your Honor.
This is overruled. you can answer. I'm not sure if you did or not.
I asked him what he was doing there.
Okay. And maybe you were cursing at him? Is that what you're suggesting?
Objection, leading the witness.
Overruled.
I think I dropped an F-bomb on him.
Why?
He's trespassing.
Okay. The person that
There
you
was an objection, but it's overruled.
saw, can you give us a description of that person, please?
When I called it in on the non-emergency line at the Waukesha Police Department, I described him at about 5'8", probably weighed about 150 pounds. He was either black, mixed, or Latino male, wearing a red shirt, jeans, long hair, beard, and I think he was missing his shoes.
Okay. You said red top?
Red shirt.
Objection,
Yes.
leading the witness.
Red shirt. What kind of shirt?
Overruled, and his answer may stand.
He was wearing a red.
If there is an objection, please just wait until I rule on it first by saying either overruled or sustained, and I'll let you know if you can answer the question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I believe it was a red T-shirt.
Okay. To your way of thinking, was he dressed appropriately for the weather?
Objection, leading the witness.
Overruled. You may answer.
Relevancy, objection.
Overruled.
Immediately, it just seemed off because he was wearing a T-shirt. If I remember correctly, he was not wearing shoes. It was very cold out. He was sweating. His eyes were huge, and he was just acting. When he came out from the garage, he was asking if I could call him an Uber.
Okay. So you spoke with him a little bit?
Objection, leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
Very shortly.
I have to ask him
She
the
needs to
question.
rephrase her question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Did you speak with him?
A little bit.
Okay. What do you remember him saying?
He kept asking if I could call him an Uber, and then he said I need to get home.
Did you agree to call an Uber for him?
No, I said he needed to leave my yard.
Okay. And did he comply with that?
Yeah, he did. He just kept asking if I could call him an Uber, or if he could use my phone, and I said you just need to leave. And
The person that you're describing for us, sir, do you see him present in the courtroom here?
he's sitting over there with the mask on and in the suit.
Okay, I'm going to ask the defendant be instructed to remove the mask.
Mr. Brooks, please remove your mask.
And if he would look at the witness, please, Your Honor, with his head down, it's not to assist.
All right, Mr. Brooks, please look up and look at the witness. Look at the witness, please. Thank you.
Is that the man that you're describing that was in your backyard that you spoke to?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
I want to show you a photograph. It's going to come up on that screen there next to you, okay? Just let me know when it's up. The system takes a minute to warm up, especially first thing in the morning. Is it up?
Yep, it is.
Okay. Do you see this photograph, sir?
Objection.
And
Overruled.
Yes.
I'd like you, is there a person shown in the photograph?
It's the
Objection,
defendant.
leading.
Overruled. It's not leading. You may answer.
It's the defendant.
Is this consistent with his appearance when he presented himself to you on your driveway that evening or backyard garage area?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
It is consistent.
Okay. Move to admit and permission to publish 171, Your Honor.
Objection, relevancy.
Your objection is overruled. Exhibit 171 is received. Permission to publish is granted. The jurors will also let us know when the image is projected in the jury box.
AG1 replaces all of these key health products. That's nutrition made simple.
Looking for the benefits of an aged shelf company?
Here at Wyoming Corporate Services, we have what you're looking for.
With thousands to choose from in Wyoming.
And so it's a little hard to tell in the photograph, but was the t-shirt he was wearing a short sleeve or long sleeve, if you remember?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
It was a short sleeve shirt.
Okay. Ultimately, did he leave your property?
Objection, accident, answer.
Overruled. You may answer.
When he was leaving, he was kind of taking his time, and then I told him he needs to leave again, and started walking towards him as he was leaving, and he lifted his shirt up and said he was unarmed.
Okay. Had you asked him about any weapons?
I had
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
I had not asked.
When he left your property, did you see which direction he headed?
He was going northwest.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions.
All right, sir. Mr. Brooks, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, I do, and I object to being called that name for the record. Do you recall giving a statement to Officer Probst?
I don't know his name, but I've talked to an officer.
And you did talk to an officer that night?
I talked to an officer on the phone. I did not talk to an officer that night. I mean, on the phone I did, but not in person.
So it was a conversation on the non-emergency line. Would that be fair to say?
It was on the non-emergency line. I actually confirmed it after I called to make sure I was on the non-emergency line.
Do you recall the description that you gave at that time?
I do. Well, my best of my knowledge was that you were either black, Latino,
Who's you?
or mixed.
Who is you?
Hold on, you have to let him answer the question first before you interrupt him with another one. Go ahead with the description you provided that night.
I said that the individual was either black, mixed, or Latino.
So it would be fair to say you didn't know at the time?
I was giving a general description.
So it would be fair to say that you weren't sure?
I was positive it was you.
Who is you?
You. I'm looking at you.
And how did you come to that conclusion, the you conclusion?
I'm looking at you.
How did you come to that conclusion? Did you?
What conclusion?
Because
Can you restate the question?
You're saying that you gave a description on the non-emergency phone line, correct?
It was on a non-emergency line.
So it would be fair to say at that time you had no name or knowledge of who the person was in your backyard. Would that be fair to say?
I had no idea who you were.
And so how can you say how can you say you then if you had no idea?
I'm looking at you. You are the guy.
And how did you come to that conclusion?
You and I were standing in the same yard looking at each other.
So is it possible you saw something on the news?
No, I had no idea who you were.
Interesting. Do you recall giving a description of approximately 5'9" and 160 pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, or would that be accurate?
I didn't have a tape measure out. It was just a guesstimate.
Would it be fair to say that since you keep identifying me as you, would it be fair to say that I'm not 5'9" nor 160 pounds?
You have your shoes on or off right now?
Would it be fair to say that I'm not 5'9", 160 pounds?
If you take your shoes off and step out of them, they could have a better.
I'm not going to have them do that, but if you're able to answer the question, do you agree?
I'd
or
have to be
disagree?
standing next to him. That's what I made my judgment from. We were about 2
Does
feet
it-
from each other.
Does it look like I'm 5'9"?
I don't know. We were a lot closer.
Does it look like I'm 160 pounds?
Objection.
Grounds?
It's irrelevant as to his appearance today, just like his hair isn't in dreadlocks today.
Sustained.
Objection.
Question.
Grounds for the sustain?
Next question, please.
You also said that, well, the narrative in the report said that the individual was later identified. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that'd be fair to say.
And so would it also be fair to say that because the individual was identified later, that's how you came to the conclusion of who it may have been in your yard?
Objection, I think that's
Grounds?
a statement, Your Honor. He's, again, reading a police report,
That's a question.
not authored by this witness. It's beyond the scope of the witness's knowledge.
It's actually the report that he
Mr.
gave.
Brooks, I've heard enough. If the objection is sustained, you may rephrase your question.
Did you follow the investigation after you had given the report on the non-emergency line?
It's kind of hard not to see it on TV. Can I clarify something? Or?
There's not a question just
Oh,
yet,
okay.
so
All right.
the state will have an opportunity to redirect if they deem it appropriate.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you made reference to it was kind of hard not to see it on the news. Would that be fair to say?
It was all over the news.
And would it be fair to say that from those news reports you gained additional information that you didn't have that night?
Actually, what I did is went into work the next morning and pulled up the police report on the internet, and there you were in a mugshot. And I'm like, that's the guy.
So you got a further description from a mugshot?
No, I didn't get a further description. At the time, I didn't care who you were when you were in my yard. I didn't know who you were, what you had done, where you had been, any of that stuff. So all I'm saying is you were trespassing in my yard at that time. And that's all I can say. Other than that, that's all I can confirm. I don't know what you did. I don't know where you were. I don't know any of the other stuff. All I know is you were the guy in my yard.
The guy that you said was 5'9", 160 pounds.
Objection, argumentative,
Grounds.
asked and answered.
Sustained. Next question, you don't have to answer that.
And what prompted you to read or pull up the police report?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds. He said it. He brought it out there.
Overruled, he may answer.
I was curious of actually who you were. And if you were the person that actually had done the atrocities that were on television.
And what prompted the curiosity?
A stranger was in my yard, unannounced, trespassing, asked me to leave, and they ended up catching somebody for doing something very bad, and I was wondering if that was the individual that had cut through my yard.
So it'd be fair to say at the time you wasn't privy to that knowledge yet.
Objection
I-
made.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
At the time you pulled up the police report, as you say, you had no knowledge of the identity of the individual.
I didn't know that you were going to be the person that had done that.
You keep referring to the you.
You. I'm looking into your eyes right now. You're the guy I'm talking about when I refer to you.
And the record should reflect that the witness used his right hand and index finger to point directly at the defendant. Next question, please.
So you just made reference to looking the you in the eyes, but you would need.
What would you prefer I call you?
You would need.
Because you're not going by Darrell Brooks.
You would need me to step out of my shoes to tell my height and weight, right?
I'd have to also stand 2 feet from you.
Hold on, please. Mr. Brooks, you're directed under 90611 to ask a question and not argue with the witness.
That
Thank
was
you.
the question.
It was argumentative. Please rephrase your question, and then the witness is instructed to wait until a question is asked. And if there's any objection, then I rule on it first. Go ahead, next question.
It sounds like he the one arguing.
Jury will disregard that last comment. Mr. Brooks, you're not testifying right now. You'll have an opportunity if you choose to do that later. Please ask a question.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Any reason why you didn't give a written statement to law enforcement?
Objection, argumentative,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
How's it argumentative?
Sustained as to the form of the question. Next question, please.
Did you at any time give a written statement to law enforcement?
I don't believe so.
Any reason why not?
Objection,
Grounds.
argumentative and irrelevant.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain.
Mr. Brooks, please ask your next question.
Grounds for the sustain. You said you pulled up the police report at work the next day, right?
No, I pulled up your mugshot.
Well, you did say police report. Would that be fair to say?
You can answer that.
I just pulled up a mugshot.
You don't recall saying that you pulled up the police report specifically?
I specifically wanted to pull up the picture of the person that had committed those atrocities to see if that was the person that had cut through my yard, which confirmed it was.
And did you pull up the complaint?
No.
Have you ever seen the complaint?
I don't believe I have.
Have you yourself filed a complaint?
Nope.
Any reason why not?
Objection,
Grounds.
relevant,
Sustained
argumentative.
as to the form of the question and on relevance. Next question.
Do you recall who subpoenaed you to testify here today?
It's on the subpoena.
You don't recall?
I'd have to have the subpoena with me, though. read the name.
Do you recall if it was the district attorney's office?
It was.
Do you recall about how long ago you received the subpoena?
You can answer that.
A month or two ago, a couple months ago. I got a subpoena, so that's all I know, and I had to show up at a certain time.
So you knew it was a possibility that you would be called to testify.
I had no expectation of the subpoena until I went to the DA's office.
So you went to the DA's office?
They want to know. They ask. They want to see if you're worth having as a witness, or if you actually had any information that was pertinent to the case.
And so would it be fair to say that you felt that you did?
I didn't know.
Grounds?
I'll sustain as to the form of the question that strike the last response. Please rephrase.
Did you feel that you had information that would be relevant to the matter?
That's an irrelevant question,
Grounds.
Your Honor.
Sustained. Next question, please.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
Next question, please.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
Next question, please.
Is that a judicial determination, Your Honor?
Ask your next question, please.
When you went to the district attorney's office, do you recall whom you spoke with?
There was 3 or 4 people there. I don't recall their names. I recall their faces.
You said you do recall the names, not the faces?
No, I recall their faces, not their names.
Oh. Do you see any of those district attorneys in court here today?
I see one district attorney and one officer was in the room.
And for the record and for the jury, can you identify whom you're referring to?
I'd have to point.
I'll
Her,
stipulate,
yep.
Your Honor, I met with
And
Mr. Backler.
this officer here, sitting behind them.
All right, so the
Yes,
witness has
Detective.
pointed to District Attorney Sue Opper and Detective Casey.
And that was around the time you first received the subpoena?
It was the time that the subpoena told me to show up.
Do you recall ever being told about the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection
Grounds.
vague.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Do you know who the plaintiff is in this matter?
Objection
Grounds.
vague, beyond the
Grounds.
scope of the witness's knowledge, legally inaccurate.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Did Attorney Opper ever tell you who the plaintiff was in this matter?
The subpoena told me who the plaintiff was.
And do you recall who the plaintiff is?
Darrell Brooks.
That's the plaintiff?
Or not the plaintiff, the plaintiff is, I think, city of Waukesha or state of Wisconsin. I'm not sure.
And it'd be fair to say that that's not a living, breathing human being.
Objection,
Grounds.
relevance.
Sustained, not relevant. Next question.
Are you aware that only a living, breathing human being can make a claim?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant, argumentative.
Grounds?
Sustained for those reasons, and it's also not an accurate statement of the law.
Definitely not
Yes.
argumentative.
Mr. Brooks, under 90611, I need you to move on from this topic and ask a different line of questions, please.
Move on from what topic, Your Honor?
Next question, sir.
Can I know what topic you're referring to, Your Honor?
Next question, please.
If I don't know the topic, how would I know to go in a different direction?
Mr. Brooks, under 90611, I need you to ask a question.
Do you know if there's even a plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained. Under 90611, sir, please move on from this topic or I will declare your cross-examination closed.
Under what law and fact, Your Honor?
Under 90611, please ask a question.
And where can I find 90611?
This is your last opportunity to ask a question, sir.
Your Honor, the jury deserves to know this information.
All right, then the state, any redirect?
No redirect. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you, sir. You may step down. State may call its next witness.
Thank you, Sean. Have a good day.
You may call.
The state calls Dominic Caprone.
All right, sir, if you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is on my right, up one riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Dominic Caprone, DOMANICCAPROON.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Mr. Caprone, are you a resident of the city of Waukesha?
Yes.
Where were you living on November 21st of 2021?
417 Central Avenue.
The objection is overruled. His answer may stand. When there's an objection, if you would just wait until I rule on it before you answer. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
417 Central Avenue, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Okay. Were you home on the afternoon of November 21st, that Sunday afternoon?
Yes.
Objection leading.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
What was the answer?
Yes. I believe is what he said.
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened shortly before 5 o'clock p.m. that day?
Well, we were at home and my youngest son just got home from a friend's house and we were ready to get water from Woodman's and
Were you outside outside or inside?
We were inside the house, sorry.
Okay. Did you at some point make your way outside?
Yeah, we eventually decided to go, and we were bringing the jugs out to the truck, and sorry.
It's okay. Tell us about the setup. Where was your truck parked?
My truck was parked by the back door, and the tailgate was facing the entry of the driveway.
So the truck was in the driveway?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened is you were also standing in the driveway?
When I was putting the jugs in the back of the truck, my son, my oldest son, looked up and he kind of pointed behind me, and I went to turn, and Mr. Brooks was coming up the driveway, and when I turned, he kind of stopped, and I noticed that he wasn't wearing a jacket or shoes.
Could you tell us what he was wearing?
He was wearing.
Overruled. You may answer.
Okay. He was wearing just blue jeans and like a red T-shirt, and he had lifted his shirt and did a 360 and told me that he didn't have any weapons, and that he needed a phone to call an Uber. And so I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So, I handed him my phone, and I had suggested to him that my neighbor was a Lyft driver. And so we continued to, with the containers. And so I put the last one in, and he handed me my phone, and he turned the corner and just wanted to see if he, got a hold of my neighbor, looked around the corner, and then he was gone. So
When Mr. Brooks lifted his shirt and did a 360 and said he was unarmed, were those the first words he said to you while you were in your driveway?
Objection, leading, and I do not consent to being called that name.
Overruled.
I'm not exactly sure. I think it was more or less all together.
Okay. And how many of your sons were present and in the driveway with you?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
2.
How old were they at the time?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
One was 21 and the other one was 14.
Do you recall providing a physical description of Mr. Brooks, the person you've referred to as Mr. Brooks today, back on November 21st when you met with the police?
Objection, I do not consent to being called that name.
Mr. Brooks, that's not a valid objection at this time. Go ahead, you may
I don't
answer.
consent to being called that name.
Go ahead and answer.
Yes, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Back on November 21st, when you met with the police, did you provide a physical description of the man who came up your driveway?
Yes.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
What was the physical description you provided?
It was a black male, mid-30s at the time, dreadlocks, tied up in a band. He had tattoos. One I noticed above his right eye, and some he had on his arms, but it was kind of dark yet, so didn't.
So the darkness prevented you from being able to see any detail of the arm tattoos?
Yes.
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Your Honor, could you please instruct Mr. Brooks to remove his mask momentarily?
Mr. Brooks, please remove your mask and look at the witness.
Mr. Caproon, the person you've described today as walking up your driveway, the person who you've referred to as Mr. Brooks today, do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may
Not
answer, sir.
consent to being called that name either.
Yes.
Could you please point to him and then tell us what he's wearing?
He's wearing a suit and tie.
Your Honor, let the record reflect, please, that the witness has identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
And that he pointed with his right hand towards Mr. Brooks.
Thank you for that.
Objection, I
additional.
don't consent to being called that name. For the record.
Whose phone, you described handing a phone to Mr. Brooks. Whose phone was it?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name.
Your objection is noted, although it's not legally relevant at this time, and I'd ask that you not interrupt with an objection for that reason under 906.11. Go ahead, Attorney Witchow, your question again.
Called that name.
Whose phone was it that you handed to the man in your driveway?
That was my phone.
And did you see what that man did with the phone?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
He called a number on the phone, or called somebody, which I at the time thought was Uber.
Did that man then hand the phone back to you at some point?
Yes.
When you met with the police, did they ask to see your phone?
Yes.
And the purpose of that was to try and see the number that
Yes.
Mr. Brooks had called?
Objection.
Overruled.
No consent to being called that name.
Yes.
Will you please show for the witness only exhibit number 74, a photograph?
Go ahead.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
Grounds.
It's relevant.
Mr. Caproon, do you see a photograph on the screen in front of you?
Yes.
What are we looking at here?
This is the number that Mr. Brooks had called.
Can you read that number out loud for us?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
414-610-2153.
And this is a call history screenshot, is that right? Where we can see all the recent calls to and from that number?
Yes.
Is this an accurate depiction of how your phone screen looked that afternoon as you showed it to the police?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Yes.
I move exhibit 74 into evidence and ask for permission to publish.
Objection, relevancy.
Exhibit 74 is received. Permission to publish is granted. The objection's overruled.
Can you zoom in on the bottom half of this photograph? Okay, Mr. Caproon, did you call this number at any point?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. He may answer.
No.
So all three of these calls, outgoing, incoming, and canceled, would have been made by someone other than you.
Yes.
Objection, leading.
And the only person who had your phone during that time frame was who?
Objection,
Me.
leading.
Or
Overruled.
Derek, no, Mr. Brooks.
After Mr. Brooks handed you your phone back, what happened next?
A lady had called me, and I answered the phone, and I asked her if she was Uber, and she told me she wasn't an Uber.
Did she say anything else?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
No.
Is the call that you're talking about, the lady who called you, was that incoming call from that 414 number we just looked at?
Objection, leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Did you recognize the number that called you?
I didn't recognize it. I didn't look at the number. I just answered the phone.
And it was recorded in your phone's call history?
Yes.
And it was the same number that Mr. Brooks had used your phone to dial?
Objection, leading, and I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. I'm sorry, I took the exhibit down. Did you need it back up?
No, I think we're done.
All right, thank you.
And that was a yes, just to be clear?
Yes.
Did Mr. Brooks leave at some point?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name.
Yes.
Did you see what direction he went when he left?
I guess it would be like the southwest part of my property, heading more westerly towards my neighbors.
Okay. Do you know what street he was headed, or he appeared to be headed toward?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Well, Central Avenue is an L Street, and he was heading towards Central.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all.
All right, very well. Any questions, Mr. Brooks, for this
Yes.
witness?
I don't consent to being called that name for the record. Do you recall giving a statement to a Detective Schwartz?
I'm not sure what his name was.
I'm referring to a Detective Mandy L. Schwartz, so that would be a woman.
There was a female, yes.
And do you recall giving a statement to the woman law enforcement officer?
Yes.
Do you recall if that was the same night or days immediately after? Or?
It was the same night.
Are you curious where is everyone moving to in the Houston suburbs? Well, I've done some research for a year to
And do you recall in that statement if you were asked about a description of the person in your driveway?
Yes.
Do you recall what you said?
Yes.
May you state it for the record and for the jury?
Yes.
Go ahead.
A black male, 30s, dreadlocks, red shirt, jeans, no shoes, no jacket.
If it pleases the court, I have the statement here, and I would like to show the witness.
Is it his written statement?
It's I'm guessing, whatever statement he gave to Detective Schwartz.
Is it a written statement?
I don't know if it's a written statement.
Would this
Maybe
be the police report?
Yeah.
If it's not his written statement, then I'm going to deny that request to show it to the witness. You may ask a question.
Do you recall in your report with Detective Schwartz that you described the male as approximately 5'5" to 5'6", weighing approximately 120 to 125 pounds, and the male appeared to be in his 20s?
Yeah, I don't recall.
Any reason why this report would say that, and then you would, when you were asked the description, you gave a different description? Any reason why the two would conflict?
Objection.
Grounds?
Argumentative.
Grounds.
And misstates the evidence.
Sustained.
Reason for the sustain? Grounds for the sustain?
Sustained as to the form of the question. And it misstates the testimony in part.
Well, I'm reading from the report that was given to the detective.
And you can't testify as to what that report says. You can only question the witness on it, sir.
That was a question. Do you recall?
He said he did not recall. Next question.
Any reason why your description would change from that night till now?
I'm not sure.
You made reference to when the male that was in your driveway left your driveway, they went towards Central, I think is what you said. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Do you recall stating in your report that they went in the direction of West Avenue?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that that's two different directions?
Yes.
Any reason why that would change from then till now?
Not sure.
And you made reference to it being kind of dark, so it was a little hard to tell about certain aspects of that interaction. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Would you say it was dark or dusk?
Dusk.
So it'd be fair to say that you were unable to identify tattoos?
I would be able to, yes.
You would be able to identify tattoos, or you wouldn't?
Not, I saw tattoos.
But you couldn't make out because of the lighting, you couldn't make them out. Would that be fair to say?
I could make out tattoos.
Do you recall stating that you were not able to identify the tattoos?
In, I guess, in description, I guess, or in detail, sorry.
And not being able to make out in detail would be referring to the tattoos on the arms?
Yes.
And during that interaction in the lighting, you could tell that there was some type of rubber band or tie in the hair?
Yes.
Do you recall what color that might have been?
No, I don't.
You made reference to a number calling you back and you not looking at the number but just answering. Do you recall stating that?
Yes.
Did you ever at any time ask who that was that called?
I just asked if it was the Uber driver.
You stated that your sons were with you in the driveway.
Yes.
Was there any interaction with your sons at that time?
Don't recall.
Do you recall stating that the male did not have any interactions with either of your sons?
No.
Do you recall stating that the male you had the interaction with, do you recall stating that you did not really think he was understanding what you were telling him?
I don't understand the question.
That would be in reference to you stating that your neighbor was an Uber driver, did you? Or a Lyft driver, was, I think, the word you said. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And you stated that you don't recall if the individual went to your neighbor's house at that time. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And do you recall about what time of the evening that was when you had the interaction?
I'm not quite sure what time it was at that time.
Do you recall around what time you were subpoenaed to testify here today?
No, I think the letter came in the mail in July.
And did you follow up with the district attorney's office at that point?
Yes.
Do you recall whom you spoke with?
Not quite sure the names, but
You made let the record reflect, you made a hand gesture with your left hand. Would that be referring to the table,
yes,
the prosecution table?
yes,
So you recall speaking to one of those attorneys?
yes.
Do you recall whom?
The gentleman here.
I'll stipulate that Mr. Capron's pointing at me.
Yeah.
All right, the record will still reflect.
And at any time, did you ever see a police report or a complaint in this matter?
No.
Did you ever yourself make a claim in this matter?
Don't understand the question.
Did you file a claim?
I don't understand the question.
Did you yourself file a complaint with law enforcement?
No.
Ever spoke with the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds?
Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
90611.
Are you aware of any plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained. Relevance 90611 as well.
You ever seen a plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question.
Had any conversations or any interactions with the plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained is to the form of the question.
Ever had a phone conversation with the plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained is to the form of the question.
Ever been contacted by the plaintiff in any way?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained is to the form of the question.
Have you ever contacted the plaintiff in any way?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
is to the form of the question.
Have you followed this matter in any way?
No.
So it'd be fair to say you didn't seek to testify in this matter. That'd be fair to say?
Yes.
Were you persuaded in any way to testify in this matter?
No.
Did you prepare in any way to testify in this matter?
No.
And before you were shown Exhibit 74, and that was the call log of your phone, correct? Before, I'm sorry,
Yes.
before today, had you seen that, those photos in reference to your call log?
Yes.
You seen them before today?
Yes.
Did you anticipate seeing them today?
Yes.
How so?
Through through the district attorney.
So you were informed that you would see those same photos by the district attorney?
Yes.
Were you at any time told what to say by the district attorneys?
No.
And are you even aware of a plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
I previously sustained it. Next question.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
Next question. Under 90611, please continue. Otherwise, I'll declare the cross-examination ended.
You can declare whatever you want to. No further questions.
Thank you. Will you redirect?
Very briefly, thank you, Judge. Mr. Caprone, I just want to clarify the geography of your neighborhood, okay? So back where you were living on November 21st of last year on Central Avenue, does Central run east to west, north to south, or something else?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Central runs east and west and north and south.
What direction does it run where you were living at the time?
Objection, leading.
East and
Hold
west.
on. Overruled. It's not leading. You may answer.
Objection, relevancy.
It's relevant. You may answer, sir.
East and west.
And where does it change and run north and south?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
It changes my neighbor's house, and then it turns north and south.
And that happens to the west of where your house was?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. His answer may stand. Chelsea, yes.
Yes.
Where is West Avenue in relation to where your house was?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
West.
So is it fair to say that if you're standing in your driveway at the time and head west, you would hit where Central Avenue turns, and then if you kept going, you'd hit West Avenue?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
So is it also fair to say that if you're heading towards Central Avenue, you're also heading toward West Avenue?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
You recall meeting with myself and my colleagues here a few weeks ago?
Objection,
Yes.
relevancy.
Overruled.
Do you remember where that meeting took place?
Here.
In the courthouse?
Yeah.
During business hours?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. You questioned him about meeting with the prosecution. These are proper.
I didn't question him about the time.
It's proper redirect. Go ahead, sir. You may answer.
Yes.
We discussed your potential testimony, is that right?
Yes.
Were we asking you questions about November 21st?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
We showed you that the photograph of the call log, right?
Yes.
And you had an independent recollection. You had seen that call log before because it's from your own phone.
Objection, leading.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Had you ever seen that photograph before?
Yes.
And had you ever looked at your phone screen before?
Objection for leading.
Not leading. It's relevant, and he may answer.
Yes.
Did we at any time give you a script for your testimony today?
Objection, asked during cross.
It's redirect. It's proper. You may answer. It's overruled.
No.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all we have.
All right. Thank you, sir. You may step down.